This was from the Lex Friedman podcast, which I am actually not a listener of, but I know he has a lot of listeners, a lot of followers. And the headline is Bethesda is developing another mobile game, says Todd Howard. So the next mobile game from Bethesda, it says it'll be a more substantial experience compared to the developer's previous phone titles. So this was, he indicated this when he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, that they're putting a lot of effort into a new mobile title, new mobile platform. They haven't announced it yet. And I'm just curious, guys, in the context of a story we did, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where Take-Two had sort of middle of the road results and a lot of softness on their mobile efforts. I sort of put and maybe you guys disagree on the premise here. I put Take-Two and Bethesda in the same kind of gaming developer company, right? They're more story-driven games. They're more, they're titles that are a bit deeper, a bit more immersive, like Elder Scrolls, where you can disappear into it for hundreds of hours, and not so much sort of the mobile, like quick hit, give me the dopamine hit and move on kind of style. And it seems like with Take-Two Mobile hasn't worked all that well. Why do you think Bethesda is going down this path? And do we think they will do better? Is this the right move for Bethesda in your mind?
I guess I have a couple thoughts here. Number one, I mean, Bethesda's owned by Microsoft, right? So this could also be part of, I think we've talked about the last couple of weeks. Phil Spencer made a bunch of comments about how important mobile was. We posited at the time that he was kind of just saying that, or how important mobile was in the context of them acquiring Activision Blizzard. I think we posited that was just him posturing in order to try to get the deal done, and mobile really wasn't that important part of that acquisition. Maybe it's possible that mobile actually is important to Microsoft, and they're seeing that as really important for them to reach the next billion gamers. So they want all of their titles to go to mobile. That's explanation number one. Number two, I would say, we have seen in the last year a lot of these like more core titles come to mobile and have some success. Diablo Immortal has done well. Apex Legends, we just talked about last week, having done pretty well, won some awards. Call of Duty Mobile has, of course, been successful. So, what does that work for like the Elder Scrolls and, whatever the other games they have that they might put onto mobile? I don't know. But those are just some thoughts there.
Lindsay, how do you feel about, you're probably the biggest mobile gamer of the bunch of us. Do you think we should see more mobile games from mobile first developers rather than trying, like Microsoft forcing a company that has historically been console and PC more than anything to stick to sort of what they know best?
That's a really good question, but I honestly think that is a time will tell kind of answer. I think that Jeff was really onto something with saying that Phil Spencer is prioritizing mobile, and that is probably a large part of what's happening here. I wonder what the investment is into this and what the expected return is. As in, I'm wondering about what the scale of this project is. Are they trying to make the next mobile game, or are they trying to make a mobile game? And I think that is the answer to that question is what my answer to is this a good idea hinges on totally. Because I think you're right. If they're trying to make the next mobile game, I don't think that they're the company to do it. They should probably work more on staying in their lane with the successes that they've had. If they're trying to make a mobile game that is reasonably successful, then probably this is a good sort of experimentation for what's happening in the mobile market. But there's not enough clarity here for me to be like, this is the right business decision. I would guess internally there's a lot more clarity on that. So I'll go ahead and trust them.
But do you guys feel that at some point mobile just gets way too crowded? Because you have, again, historically PC and console developers doing more mobile on all fronts in all companies, right? You have, Jeff, companies like yours that pump out mobile games at a prodigious rate, right? At some point, like, not everyone can, maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, can everyone really pivot to mobile and there still be enough appetite for this?
That's like asking if there are too many movies made because there's already been a bunch of great movies made to me. There's two different categories of mobile
Well,
games.
I
Some are
didn't say there was a lot
mainstays.
of great games being made, but yeah, I
Yeah,
see your
but
point.
the point is some are mainstays and other ones are simply people jumping from thing to thing as new things come out. So, no, I don't think it's oversaturated.
What I think it is Bethesda had some limited success with like Blades, which is one of their Elder Scrolls titles that they brought to mobile from the Skyrim franchise, Elder Scrolls franchise. And then also, if any of you guys are familiar and play Fallout, they did a very cutesy mobile game called Fallout Shelter, which I played religiously for a while. I think they had limited success with a couple of titles with very limited effort and just said, hey, let's lean into that direction and see if that could be another thing for us. I would be a lot more excited about this story if it included more information on Elder Scrolls 6, because Skyrim's been out for like 10, 11 years now. Let's get the ball rolling. So I agree with you, Paul. Like, let's stay in our lane. Let's make what everyone's expecting us to make, and it's long overdue. But it's I'm gonna, just because of the studio, I'm gonna try what they put out because I'm familiar with their other franchises and because the mobile games that they have put out have been okay. Like, they've been fun enough, and I don't think people are looking for that AAA blockbuster experience in a mobile game, and so maybe that effort also for them is of the level where they could devote a little bit of their manpower, generate some revenue. We do know how much these console and PC games cost, how many hours they take. So maybe this is something also help keep them employed or keep the contracts coming in as well when they don't have that next big thing to work on. Though, Bethesda probably less at risk of that than someone else.
Jimmy, let's talk about a game that took way too long to make. And actually, I want to read Matt's comment here. It says, sounds like Bethesda wants to break more into Asia/India. That could be Microsoft's focus, but then Microsoft should go buy more mobile game publishers. That's what I don't understand, right? Go buy more mobile game developers and let the studios that you bought that make PC and console games continue to make PC and console games. That to me is the weird part. But
we did cover real quick, Paul. We did cover a Microsoft investment in India story in October, if you guys remember.
That's true.
So when you're saying put your money where your mouth is, they did. I don't think I've seen anything else besides that story, but we did see them put, was it like 80 million, I thought, or 100 million round into
I agree
Indian
with
company.
Matt's statement.
Yeah.
It's just, should Bethesda be sort of leading the charge into that market? That's the question, right? Like, I'm not sure about that.